After not hearing from my family for months, my dad finally called. Not to apologize, but to demand $2,200 for my sister's birthday helicopter tour. We already paid. You better send it today or you're dead to us. I said, funny, you've been dead to me for years. That night, I finally pulled the trigger on a plan I'd been building for months. Panic. Full collapse. Your mother's in tears. She hasn't left her room. Your sister's canceled her party. We're begging you, please undo this. For context, I'm 29M, oldest of 3, and the official black sheep of the family. Not because I did anything wrong, but because I never mattered. My younger sister Ashley, 26F, was always the shining star. She got the praise, the attention, the investment. I got excuses. Ashley got braces at 14. I had to wait until next year, which never came. Ashley had dance lessons, cheerleading camp, and a sweet 16 with a DJ and an attended backyard party. I got a store-bought cake and a card that said, "Make this year count." For most of my life, I made excuses for them. Maybe they were struggling. Maybe I wasn't lovable. Maybe if I worked harder, they'd see me. I'm done making excuses. I stayed in the same country. Hell, I'm only 6.5 hours away from them. When I left home at 22, I moved to a mid-sized city with a couple of suitcases, a busted laptop, and a job offer that didn't survive its own probation period. I slept on couches, shared tiny apartments with 4 roommates, built websites, fixed code, and took on freelance tech work nobody else wanted. I ate instant noodles more nights than I can count. They never called, never visited, never asked. I got used to it. But 3 years ago, things started turning around. I landed a big client, a law firm that referred me to 5 others. Then I partnered with a growing e-commerce startup that let me build out their full system infrastructure. They paid me equity. I cashed out when they got acquired. I don't live lavishly, but I'm good, better than I've ever been. I never announced anything, never flexed, but I wasn't exactly hiding either. I posted a few conference photos on LinkedIn. A company tagged me in a partner spotlight feature. I guess that's how it started. Ashley's college friend, someone who randomly followed me on Instagram, saw me speaking at a tech summit last fall. "Isn't your brother, kind of rich now?" she asked Ashley. That was all it took. A week later, I got a DM from Ashley, the first in years. "Hey, stranger. Hope you're doing well. Random question. Do you still do website stuff? I had this idea I wanted to run by you. LOL. We should catch up." I left it on read. A few days later, I got a friend request from my mom. Ignored. Then came the text from my dad. "Let's talk soon. Got something important to run by you." I didn't respond. I knew what was coming, and I wasn't wrong. Last week, in the middle of my lunch break, my phone rang again. "Dad." I stared at the screen. Part of me wanted to send it to voicemail, but something told me to answer. "Hey," I said. No greeting, no small talk, no "how've you been?" Just a voice full of impatience and arrogance. "We need $2,200. Ashley's birthday is this weekend. We booked a helicopter tour over the Grand Canyon. It's already paid. We just need you to cover it. You better send it today or you're dead to us." I let the silence stretch. I could hear his breathing, short, clipped, annoyed. I almost laughed, not out of humor, but sheer disbelief. That was the first call I'd gotten from him in almost 4 years. Not for my birthday, not during the pandemic, not when I had surgery and recovered alone. Not once, but now because Ashley wanted an Instagram-worthy birthday. Now I mattered. I didn't yell, didn't curse, didn't give him the satisfaction of emotion. I just said, "Funny, you've been dead to me for years." Then I hung up. I sat there for a long time. Then I turned to my laptop, opened the encrypted folder I'd labeled archive_file, and opened a document titled Timeline of Fraud. Because while they were pretending I didn't exist, they were also pretending my name was theirs. 2 years ago, I pulled my credit report and found something strange. A condo lease opened in my name 5 months after I left home, with a cosigner I'd never signed for, never authorized. When I called the leasing company, they brushed me off until I said the words, "identity theft." They got very quiet after that. Since then, I've been building my case quietly and professionally. Screenshots of emails where Ashley listed me as a co-owner of her boutique LLC without my consent. Utility bills in my name at an address I've never lived at. Multiple documents forged with my digital signature. Last year, I consulted a lawyer who specializes in family fraud and identity abuse. I've been patient, strategic, waiting for the final nudge. That phone call was it. That night, I sent out 4 emails. One to the leasing company, one to the fraud department at the credit bureau, one to the boutique's online payment processor, and one to the family. Just a forwarded message from my attorney. Legal action regarding fraudulent use of personal information is being formally initiated. Then I turned off my phone and slept like a rock. By morning, the silence was gone. My phone lit up the moment I turned it back on. 16 missed calls, voicemails from numbers I didn't recognize, a message from my aunt asking if I was okay, and a text from my mother, her first in years, saying she was in tears and begging me to talk. Ashley's birthday party was 2 days away. That's when it all started unraveling. Apparently, the payment processor I reported had frozen her boutique's account. The boutique she launched 2 years ago, the one she told everyone was her solo venture, because on paper it was co-owned by me. That was news to me, but it's what allowed her to avoid certain taxes and fees. When I submitted my documentation, the platform suspended all funds for review. That included the prepaid catering for the party and the flower deposit, $2,000 held in limbo. Then the leasing company responded. They flagged the condo rental and notified the building owner. My father had stopped paying a year ago, but the collections agency had been trying to reach me since. With the fraud report on file now, they escalated. By noon, another round of calls. This time, they didn't bother with fake pleasantries. My dad left a voicemail saying, "The party's canceled and you've ruined Ashley's life." My mother texted again. She hadn't left her room all morning. Ashley's friend messaged me, panicking and crying. "You just blew up her business." I sat at my desk and opened my laptop again. I wasn't celebrating yet. I was just still focused, calm. The kind of calm that only comes when you know you didn't start the fire, but you're finally done pretending the smoke doesn't burn. A week ago, I was invisible. Now I was the center of their world for all the reasons they never imagined. And I was just getting started. The next 48 hours were a slow-motion avalanche. Ashley's boutique went from temporarily paused to under investigation. Payment processors froze everything: accounts, payouts, subscriptions. Emails to customers were filled with apologies. Posts disappeared from social media. She locked her Instagram after the comments started. Mom stopped texting. Dad didn't. His messages shifted from rage to desperation. He claimed I was overreacting, said I should have just talked to them first, said this wasn't how family handles things. I didn't respond. What he didn't know was that the lawyer had already filed the first round of paperwork. Identity abuse, fraudulent lease agreements, false business registration. Enough to scare anyone into silence. But I wasn't after revenge. I was after accountability. And I wanted distance. I'd spent years doing well and keeping quiet. I never asked for repayment, never brought up the stolen credit card incident when I was 19, never made noise about them co-signing loans in my name, then defaulting. But now the weight of those years was landing all at once on them. By the end of the weekend, the fallout had started spreading. My aunt called, furious that Ashley had borrowed money for the party, claiming she had a silent investor backing her. My uncle asked why my name was attached to a family GoFundMe set up last year, supposedly to help me recover from a breakdown. That was news to me. Turns out they'd been using my shadow for gain until the shadow started talking back. And now no one could unhear it. By Monday night, the calls stopped, not because they were done, but because they were spent. Every attempt to guilt me had collapsed under its own weight. And because the version of me they'd always counted on, the quiet one, the forgiver, the fixer, was gone. What they didn't understand was this wasn't sudden or impulsive. It was the slow burn of a decade's worth of betrayals. Every dismissal, every lie, every time I was told to be the bigger person while they cut me a little deeper. I used to wonder if I was overreacting. I used to second-guess the pain, gaslight myself into silence. But silence didn't keep me safe. It just made me useful. They used me like a vault, only remembered when they needed something withdrawn. And the final withdrawal, the $2,200 helicopter tour, the audacity. After vanishing for years, they didn't reach out to ask if I was okay. Not once when I moved out with nothing. Not once when I started rebuilding. Not when I landed my first big client. Not even when my name started quietly circulating in circles they'll never be allowed into. They didn't call because they cared. They called because they thought I'd say yes. Because for so long I always had. But not this time. Because I'd built something better than a grudge. I built a life, one where my phone could ring all day and I'd never feel the need to answer. One where I wasn't waiting for an apology because I'd already accepted the truth. They were never sorry. Only sorry they got caught, sorry the consequences finally touched them, sorry their old tactics didn't work on the person I'd become. And now I was done offering explanations, done leaving doors open. So when my father sent that final message, "You're dead to us," I didn't flinch. I just whispered it back to the past. Dead to me. And this time I meant it. Update. It's been a week since everything collapsed. The boutique is still frozen, Ashley's party never happened, and my mother, according to my aunt, is barely speaking. My father hasn't tried calling again. Not after I ignored his last demand. No one's apologized, no one's admitted fault. But the silence, it's louder now, heavier. I didn't do this out of spite. I did it because I finally realized if someone only sees your worth when they need something, they never saw you at all. I'm not angry anymore, just free. If you found this story satisfying, make sure to like, leave a comment, and subscribe for more true story takedowns, epic revenge, and emotional redemption arcs. Got a family drama of your own? Drop it in the comments. We might just turn it into the next one.